the Healing Through Love podcast with Charlene Lynch and Rose Davidson. Learn how to recognise and release inherited beliefs for a life of true freedom with Shannan Mondor in episode 107.
My identity back then, 5 years ago, is somebody that I was just stepping into, which was at that point in time, my vision was to be somebody that was no longer drinking. So that was my vision. And as I grew, I started climbing the ladder of success. Then all of a sudden I'm getting these intuitive hits of what I want to do next. Then I'm starting to feel better, get better. Do you know what I mean? Like you don't automatically become that person. You need to grow into that individual. So that's what my Rise Above program really works on. But the biggest thing is I had to look back in my past of all these things that were holding me back, which were locked into my subconscious mind, which was also generational.
Welcome to another episode of Healing Through Love. Each week, we share ideas, experiences, and resources to increase the awareness of domestic and family violence and to empower survivors to grow and thrive. We talk with experts who share their advice, or with people who have experienced abuse, no matter where they are on their journey. This is all about healing through love. And now, here are your hosts, Charlene Lynch and Rose Davidson.
Hello and welcome to the Healing Through Love podcast, a space where stories of strength, resilience and transformation unfold. I'm your host, Charlene Lynch, and I'm honoured to be your guide on this journey of empowerment and healing. Today we have a very special episode tailored specifically for you. Whether you're driving or sipping a cup of tea or a coffee, or simply taking a moment to yourself, I want you to know that you're in a safe place. Healing Through Love is more than a podcast. It's a community, a beacon of hope and a reminder that you are not alone. In this episode, we have a guest who will share a story that resonates with the core of our mission, a story that illuminates the power of love, resilience, and unwavering strength that lies within each of us. So settle back, take a deep breath, and let the healing journey begin. But before we dive in, if you've been inspired by the narrative that you hear here today, just a quick reminder that if you find value in our episodes, consider supporting us by subscribing, sharing, and leaving a review. Your engagement with us helps us reach the hearts of more beautiful humans on the journey to healing. Without any further ado, I'd love to introduce our special guest today. Shannan Mondor is a transformational mentor. She's a best-selling author and public speaker and podcast host who is passionate about guiding her clients and her audience into discovering their greatness within. Because once you have the faith in yourself, you've created a foundation to experience fulfillment in every single area of your life. Hello and welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me. It's an absolute pleasure. So thank you.
It is lovely to have you here. Now, we're at opposite ends of the globe and it's mid-afternoon for us, but it's evening for you. And I've got my hot chocolate and you've got your coffee. So I love it. Thank you so much for your dedication and for your high frequency to be here at 11 o'clock your time and have this beautiful conversation. Now, nobody gets to where you are by accident. It's a series of events that gets you there, and that living above the line and that level of awareness to put the pieces of the puzzle together and join the dots. And now you're in a place where you can share that with other people. So I'd love to, if it's okay, can you share your story, just one of them, that's got you to transition to where you are today?
So the biggest thing with me is I look at where I was to where I am now, and I believe so much in the universe. I believe in God. I believe in guidance. And because I've accepted my past and I actually look at it as a gift now, I can literally see how I was divinely guided from where I was to where I am now. So I come from a family of addiction, abuse, and mental illness, which was normalized throughout my whole entire life. So growing up, I was always told by my abuser, which was my brother, that I was dumb, I was stupid, I was never going to amount to anything. And then, of course, once I got into my teenage years, the name calling and that got even worse. So my level of frequency of what I was brought in was at the lowest frequency possible that I can be on the vibration chart. Now, with that being said, too, my daily life was depression, anxiety, because I didn't know any better, because I lived within that on a day in, day out basis. So as I got more into my teenage years, I really became a people pleaser, because what ends up happening is you conform your personality around those beliefs that you have within inside of you. So I became a people pleaser. I let others control my life. I was a chameleon. And the reason I did that, was because of the fear that I had within me. But at that point in time in my life, I didn't know that that's what was happening, or that's what I was doing, right? It wasn't until later on in my life, after years of suppression and me continuing this cycle over and over and over again, was when I had finally basically had hit rock bottom. Because what I was doing is I became someone that was extremely addicted to alcohol. I'm 120 pounds and I was drinking up to 6 bottles of wine a day. And it's just incredible now what I think about, what my life was to where I am now. And that, when you suppress all those feelings for so long, it's going to come out in one way or another. It's going to come out in mental illness. It's going to come out in addiction. It's going to come out into obesity. It's going to come out into a disease. Mine came out through my addiction. And that was the universe. The universe, I look now, actually saved me, because what was actually happening with me when I was at my lowest point in my entire life, that took me even a bit deeper, was I was starting to have all these flashbacks because my body couldn't handle it anymore. So what had happened was I was having these flashbacks of my childhood, and I didn't know whether they were real or whether they were not real. And I couldn't tell anybody, because what happens if they did believe me? What happens if they didn't believe me, right? There was all these things going on within my mind, because if they were real, then I would have to deal with these things that were all happening within me, right? So basically what had happened was I was going insane, is what happened. So that's where the amount of alcohol came in, because every waking moment, that's all I could think about was it real or is it not real? So what ended up happening was I ended up going to a treatment center, one of the top treatment centers in Canada. And I was there, and it was absolutely amazing. I literally embraced it. And I was in there for 8 weeks. I was away from my family. I'm the mother of 4 beautiful children. And I was away for 8 weeks, and I came home, and then I lived in my little bubble. And that was where I started slowly to set my healthy boundaries and to really work on me. But when I went into treatment, I didn't realize at that point in time that I wasn't doing it 100% for me. I was doing it for everybody else. So I had quit drinking for about a year, and then I started having triggers. I was put in an environment. So in that year that I quit drinking, I was in a controlled environment, which I controlled. I no longer was around friends that drank anymore. Just everything. I could control it. I knew what I needed for me to get better. But the first instance that I was taken out of my safe environment, all of these triggers came back to me. And at that point in time, I didn't realize what triggers were, because they didn't teach me that in treatment. And so I was starting to have all these issues again about abandonment, me not belonging, me not feeling good. There was so many things that I hadn't worked on yet, which I didn't know yet to work on. So I ended up drinking again for about 1.5 years. And at first I was like just a social drinker and that, but then I started to get worse. Then I started to call back in all of the things that were normal to me before, right? I started to get extremely verbally abusive, all of that. I was going back to my old ways. But at the same time, I didn't realize that I had turned into my brother, my abuser. And slowly and surely throughout the years, the person that I disliked the most, between a combination of my mother and also of my father, my mother never protected me. And the reason that she didn't protect any of us children from my brother was because she was so badly abused also by my father, as well as my oldest brother was abused. So that was their normal. So with our upbringing, they normalized what was happening to them, to us. And so my resentments were so strong towards my mother and my brother. And what you think about the most becomes a reality. And I became them. I was running so far away from them. I was thinking I was, but what I was doing is I was actually running to be exactly like them. And so after me drinking for about a year and a half, I woke up on August 17th of 2019, and I had my awakening to awareness. And I was like, no, I can't do this anymore, because I was starting to get all those suicidal thoughts again. All my thoughts were directed towards the resentment towards my brother and my mother. And then I'm looking at my life and I'm like, oh my God, I can't normalize this any longer because this is so wrong. I've got 4 beautiful children. And what I've done is I've normalized my upbringing for them now. And I can't do it anymore. I'm done. And the only one that can stop this cycle is me. I'm the only one that can do this. And for my children to have a life that I always longed for, I have to create that for my children and for myself. And for my grandchildren, my future grandchildren, the future generations to come. So that was my awakening to awareness, because I had lived my whole life of what I did not want. But now I was at that point where I was at my wits' end. It was like, I gotta stop this. What is it that I want? And it was like, I want to be a good mother. I want to be a mentor. I want to have a loving relationship. I want to have a husband that loves me completely, that makes me safe. And that was a huge, huge pivotal moment. And then from that point on, I made changes that I needed to make.
I love it. This is so rich. There's so much to unpack here. And exactly what you said, when we're living in those low frequencies of blame and shame and guilt, then it's hard to rise above the bar. It's hard to lift our frequency to the next level. And we need sometimes a pattern interrupt. And, you know, this is a beautiful time to have that lovely conversation about what does it look like to awaken to awareness. And you've had that. And now you're out there as a speaker, and also the beautiful book that you've written as well, which is a bestseller, that explains this process of awakening to that level of awareness. It's our, you know, it's our opportunity to see, are we really happy with the way things are? We can stop blaming everyone else for where we are. We can start to decide to live above the line, lift our own frequency, and break the family patterns. So we're not the one who's paying it forward or paying it down. I love that. And now you've progressed, and now in your teaching and your coaching, you're actually helping people to rise above their identity and make different choices about where it is that they want to go, choose the outcome, have the vision for the future that they're looking for, and then make those empowered steps to move towards that. So I'd love to know a little bit more about your Rise Above program, and also how to the base thing here is, if you're listening today, if you want to become empowered, then this is what you're looking for. You're looking for a program that enables you to rise above. Can you
Absolutely. And this, what I love about my programs is because I've designed them all myself. They are created all with my heart. I've created them all through the experiences that I've gone through, all of my teachings that I've learned from other coaches or whatever. And I know what works because I've lived through it, and I live by my teachings on a daily basis. And I know for a fact that if you want to change your life, it all stems from within. Everything comes from within. And that was, when it comes to the aspect of Rise Above, what I concentrate a lot within my Rise Above program is the aspect of identity, because we can create that version of ourselves, who we are within our mind. But in order to become that version of yourself, the greatest that you can possibly be, you have to step into the new identity of what that version of that person is. So now, for example, I am a best-selling author. I'm a transformational mentor. I myself have my own podcast. I'm being interviewed all over the world. I am living, breathing, acting, smelling, everything, that identity now today by the actions that I'm taking. 5 years ago, no, I wasn't. My identity back then, 5 years ago, is somebody that I was just stepping into, which was at that point in time, my vision was to be somebody that was no longer drinking. So that was my vision. And as I grew, I started climbing the ladder of success. Then all of a sudden I'm getting these intuitive hits of what I want to do next. Then I'm starting to feel better, get better. Do you know what I mean? Like you don't automatically become that person. You need to grow into that individual. So that's what my Rise Above program really works on. But the biggest thing is I had to look back in my past of all these things that were holding me back, which were locked into my subconscious mind, which was also generational, which was brought forth to me from my brother. Because I truly, truly believed from such a young age, like we're talking 2 to 3 years old, that I was dumb, I was stupid, I was never going to amount to anything. I felt ugly. I felt shame. I was lonely. I was depressed. I was all of that. So what version of Shannan had to let that go? And how could I shift those beliefs into something new and start to live them? That's what I teach people in that program. And that meant so much to me, when I created this program. And I love talking about identity. I love it. I love it. I love it, because that's also where you really dig deep into the vibration that you were brought into this world in, how you lived your life in your adolescent years, your teenage and your 20s and 30s and 40s. And then you can actually see at that point in time, oh my God, I attracted all these people into my life because of the vibration I was on. Number one. Number two, now I got to take responsibility because of the vibration that I was on. You can't change the past, but you sure as hell can change the future, and you can take responsibility, and you can have that desired action to go forward. That's what I love about this program. I love it. I love it. I could talk about identity forever. Love it.
I love it. And, it's relevant also. I mean, most of our listeners do have businesses. So this stands true from a business perspective as well.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Your authority and go to the next level. Yes. And are you showing up? Is your digital footprint supporting this iteration, this identity that you're holding true? Because the fact of the matter is frequency speaks louder than words, and it will manifest itself in your copy, in your content, in your images, in how you show up energetically. That's a universal law. I love it. There's so much to unpack here. And so I love the fact that you've got this course. Now, I understand that you're offering to our listeners today an opportunity to book a call. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. So if you want to get a hold of me, which I hope that you do, you can either go onto my website, or there's also going to be a link attached to this interview as well, too, which is just a direct link. You just book a discovery call with me, and we can have a really great discussion of how I can help you to become the greatest version of yourself. And I mean, like in every area, because this work covers every area. And, like now, from where I was to where I am now, I'm a totally changed person. Like everything has changed. My family, finances, my health, like totally everything. And once you get on board and you really understand the ways of that you have to shift, your ways of thinking, your belief systems, all of that, it just ripples effect in every single area.
Absolutely. And if you're sitting here listening today and going, I don't think I've got any of these limiting beliefs, I don't think I've got any strong.
We all do, believe me, because we live in a world of scarcity. We are brought up in a world of limiting beliefs.
If you're listening and you think, I don't have any of these, and as much as we tell you that you do, you're not going to listen, But what I ask you to do is have a look at the results of your life right now. Are there areas of your life, maybe your weight, maybe your relationships with your partner or lack of partner, where you live, how much money's in the bank, your longevity, your health, any part on that wellness wheel? Where are you? Have you got any results that need changing? I can guarantee you at the core, at the base of each and every one of those is a limiting belief that's holding you in a cycle that's not allowing you to move forward. And this is why you want to reach out and have a chat to Shannan. And it's fantastic. We've got the link there in our show notes and also in the description, so you can reach out and have a beautiful conversation with her today. Now, in a moment, she's going to share her closing words, but I do want to steal some time and just draw your attention to the fact that healing through love and creating these beautiful pamper days, so think day spa on steroids, is not just housed here in South Australia, which is Adelaide, but it's also gone global. As of last year, 2023, Healing Through Love is now global, and we teach women around the globe how to hold these pamper days, hold the frequency, and help create that healing environment for women to step above the line and have that community with other women, link arms and move forward and change their lives. So if you'd like to be an exhibitor, so if you've got some sort of modality that you do and you really want to hold the space just for one day, for our beautiful participants that come along, or if you're a participant and you're somewhere in the world, reach out to us and we'll let you know where the local ones are. Or if you're, you don't have a skill set in and around something physical or some sort of practitioner, then, we're also looking for organisers. So if that's where your skill set lies, or a volunteer, as long as you've got that heart for change and that soul to really help people move forward, then we need to chat with you. We've got masterclasses coming up on a regular occasion. We'd love you to reach out and connect with us. And if it's not you, it might be someone else that that's had an experience and wants to pay it forward, use karma, make a difference for other people and help heal those wounds that are generational. If you heal your wound in this generation, you help 700 years of generational healing. Like, that's how much power is in you changing the family pattern and moving forward. This we know. I love it. Now, in closing, please, Shannan, can you share some closing words with our beautiful audience?
I would have to say, have faith in yourself. And the reason I say that, and I believe so strongly in that, is once you have faith in yourself, you will have fulfillment in absolutely every area of your life. And I'm going to tell you a little story here. I'm 55 years old, and I never, ever, ever thought that I would ever get a tattoo. I got fulfillment in faith tattooed on me because I believe it so much. And I am a living testimony of it. And my business is called Fulfillment in Faith because, like I said, I live it, I breathe it, I teach it. It is fulfillment in faith.
I love it. I love it. As a woman of faith, it's close to my heart. And as a recovered alcoholic, or I don't know, are we ever really recovered? Perhaps, maybe, perhaps not. I don't know. From 30 years, now been sober almost 9 years. So I'm very, very excited. And I love what it is that you bring to this planet. I love the frequency that you vibrate on. I love the difference that you make. I love the pebbles in the pond that you drop that create ripples and waves that make the difference. It's been a privilege and a pleasure to have you in our proximity for Healing Through Love. Thank you. What a blessing. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Healing Through Love. You can get further resources, see the show notes, or simply reach out to us via our website at htlaustralia.org. Thanks so much for joining us, and we look forward to your company next time on the Healing Through Love podcast.